What's up, traders? Anthony Crudele here, and welcome to 10-Minute Technicals. Looking forward to closing out this 5-part series today with order flow charts. And we're going to tie all of this in. Remember where we started in this 5-part series, talking about identifying market environment using Bollinger Bands, 20-period, 3 standard deviation Bollinger Bands. How to identify whether or not we're in a consolidation. Are we in range expansion higher, range expansion lower? Are we in a mean reversion back into primary trend using Beacon to help you identify a mean reversion? Then we got into using an anchored VWAP. Where should I anchor it? How to use a moving average to help guide you in a position. Then we got into volume profile and looking at the delta of volume profile, building and layering and not using redundancy in our indicators. Extremely important when building a strategy and when overall looking at market environment. This is so key. It's been the key to all the success I've had in trading by not having redundancies on my chart, having indicators that have a purpose. I look at them, I see them, I identify with exactly what they're telling me. And then when I get to my shorter term order flow charts, like we're looking at here today on GoCharting, a 30-minute order flow chart in the mini S&P. We have a really great idea of what we're looking for, and we're hyper-focused on that one side of the market. And although some things can change throughout the day, primarily I'm going to be looking at what? Buy signals. Why? Because of everything I've said over the last previous videos, right? And that could change tomorrow. That's why it starts with the daily and the Bollinger Bands, and you work your way through this. Right now, the market environment is still showing us that the bulls are in control. So when I get to my shorter term day trading, whether you're scalping or swing trading, I like to focus on one side of the market just because every time that I'm trying to trade two sides of the market, when the primary trend and everything on the bigger picture is telling me to focus on that direction and I try to fade it, that's when I typically get chopped up. So I'm trying to reduce that in my trading. I want to reduce the amount of exposure I have as well because I want to be more focused on where the probability lines up in my favor. Now, today on this order flow chart, it's a 30-minute E-mini S&P chart here on GoCharting. And if you take the trial for GoCharting or if you have GoCharting, hit me up in my free Discord or on X or send me an email from my website and I'll get you this workspace. And I'm going to go over what is in this workspace today. So first off, we know on the right-hand side, we have my volume profile, which is once again, net delta. I don't use just the regular volume profile where I see all of the volume. That doesn't matter to me. I just want to see net delta. I want to see where the buyers are winning versus the sellers at prices. That's what I like to see. Period. I don't need to see all the volume. I don't care. Once again, it's a total preference. And there's so many great volume profile traders out there that would disagree with me or use it their own way. That's great. That's the way I like it. Also, I have imbalance bars overlaid candlesticks here. So the candlesticks bars, and then we have imbalance bars. What's an imbalance bar? Once again, I want to see net delta. Red favors the shorts. There was more sellers there versus buyers. On the blue side, there was more buyers versus seller, and it highlights that and it color codes it. The stronger the blue, the more the buying, stronger the red, the more the selling. And why I like to see that is because I like to see squeezes on highs or lows. Let's look up at this high right up top here, right? 3,500 on the offer was bought on this 30-minute bar versus 2,600 sellers. Light blue, but still nonetheless a buy. And then that was a high, right? And so market participants tried to push through there and they couldn't, and we rotated off it, right? And you see that on a lot of lows as well down here, 1.6K to 800, and the market squeezed up, which I like that one. I'll explain in a little bit why. So that's what I have on there. On the bottom, I have volume, which is in the green. So it shows how much volume is done in the bars, regular trading hours. Second row is delta. We know what delta is. It's the net delta, what was bought and sold in that time frame on that bar. Cumulative delta is what's built up over the course of the regular trading hours. So from 9:30 Eastern to 4 p.m. What was it showing us in terms of the net delta? And the bottom's the percentage. On that bar, how much of a percentage was bought or sold? It's blue if it's bought, it's red if it's sold. Now, also within these bars, I didn't mention this, but it's going to be the last thing I mention. And it's important because it's why I have those boxes highlighted there. That is a VWAP within the bar. I don't know how many other charting platforms have this. I think they should. I hope they do. I don't know how many do, but in GoCharting, it's pretty cool because I can see the VWAP within the bar. That's what that is. It's the VWAP per bar. So what's the volume weighted average price in this 30-minute bar? It shows it to me. And I like that. Why do I like that? Because it shows me an area, if we were to come back to it, a bar of importance. What was the volume weighted average price of that bar? And so I like that a lot. It's become a huge part of what I'm doing. And so when I look at that, you go back and look at where we were. And this was going back to Wednesday, the 28th of August. And I had this highlighted in this area because 55.92, we made a low, a good low, and the market ripped off of it. And you can see that 55.92 is that VWAP. So I highlighted that zone. And when you look to the right, look at what happened there on the right in the net delta. On the net delta, it's showing us that there was a lot of buyers there. They defended it. Go back to that daily chart I talked about, right? We showed what was happening there on the daily. You're seeing it now in the shorter term. This is confirmation that there's buyers out there and they've been defending these areas. So we know when we get into these areas, if we get into these areas, that if they start to fail to hold, it could be a ripper lower. It's important to know. So 55.92 is a big area of support for me. And I highlight it because if we were to come back to those areas, I look to lean on that area for a buy. And that's what I look for a lot of times right now for buy signals. And would be great if I got, even in the previous video, I talked about beacon, a mean reversion. You want to see a sell off into there, get a beacon signal right around 55.92. It's also support. Maybe off and running we go. This is how I continue to layer things. And look at this 56.12, another area of importance I had in the chart, and why this 56.12 wasn't as big of a deal, and just an area that I looked at and said, well, if it gets down there, maybe I take a look at a long, but if it doesn't hold there, it probably goes right to 55.92. It's just because look at the volume on the right. The net delta, it's just sloppy. Some sellers, some buyers, it's thin volume. And you can see that when it gets in there, it's really whippy. And that's why I like the net delta on the volume profile, because it helps me identify that, right? You want to see basically you would call it a ledge of some sort of buyers at an old naked VWAP. I don't even know if that's even the right term, a naked VWAP. I don't know. I'm going to use it for now. But if it holds above that area with the buying support, it just gives me more confidence in it, right? And so the 56.12 just didn't quite have that. So it's like, yeah, you might scalp something off of it, or if you see it hold and then build off of it. That's why I like the net delta and seeing all these things that are within the order flow charts. And maybe you take a look at it for a long. I also have, I didn't mention it, but I always highlight the opening 30-minute range. It's just highlighted on my chart so I could see what it is and see what the bottom of the first 30-minute range is. If it's, what's the high and low of that, just because it's the first 30 minutes. I think it's an area of importance just to watch that range. I have that on there. It's not determining a trade for me. I just figured I'd mention it because you could see the horizontal lines on there. And so going back to this 55.92, also look at this bar and why it even adds more importance. Look at the percentage of the volume, 9.9% of the buy side. It's a big amount. So almost basically 10% of the volume was at the buy side. And that's the volume weighted average price, confirmed with what you see over here to the right. So it's areas to watch. So those are areas I look for support. You can go back and I just keep moving my chart and I'll just keep doing that until I see areas where we had naked VWAPs. I'll continue to move it to the other side as well. Like, you see 56, 55 was a big area on that big move up towards the end of the month. And then you look at even see was 55.33, kind of. Maybe revisit 55.33. If that doesn't hold, maybe it can go back down to 55.92. And so I like these naked VWAPs within the 30-minute bar. It really helps me identify support in areas where we could potentially break out when it's coincided with what I'm seeing here in the volume profile, the net delta volume profile. And so 56.55 will be a big area for me to watch going into the next trading day, because a lot of times we'll kiss this area on regular trading hours above or below it. And it could be an area where maybe we go 55 to 33 or 55 holds and we get above it and we build up to the next level. But that's why I watch these levels. And so I'll go back and I'll highlight that area and I'll keep an eye on it. I'll actually just move this over there. It's just something that I'll do because now the 56.12 is done. And I'll keep that highlighted and I'll keep an eye on it. And so that's how I built my strategy. That's how I built understanding market environment. Hopefully through these 5 videos, you get a better understanding of really everything that I put out there. I mean, for my morning note, my daily note, which is free, it's where my mind is. And, I'm trying to help traders. My dailies note is free. Understand market environment and how that could lead to become a better executor in the short term. And this is ways that I'll use the short-term charts. So hopefully you like this video and hopefully you learned something to help you build on your strategy. Remember, what I'm doing is what I'm doing. If it helps you, great. You use it, great, right? Ask me any questions that you have. I'm happy to answer them. But this is about you building your strategy and understanding how I've layered things. So when I look at the market, it's clean, it's concise. I know what I'm looking for. And really for you traders out there, that's all you can ask for in a strategy, right? Probabilities are extremely important, right? I've built probabilities into my strategy, but sometimes people get so focused on trying to get the greatest probability of all these different things that they forget really how to trade. They forget that you could be a better executor of a lower probability strategy and have great success, right? You don't need to find mathematically the perfect thing. Maybe that's just not how you're built. Maybe you're built visually and certain things, fit into the way you want to put into your strategy to help you become a better trader. And at the end of the day, to become a better trader, you have to understand market environment and you have to become a better executor of your strategy.